Welcome back, gentlemen. In the last 2 weeks, we've covered the power of identity, belief, and language, three foundational tools to shape your transformation. And now that you're a couple weeks into the program, you might be starting to feel some resistance, some friction, if you will. It's normal, it's natural. And this week, I want us to focus on a really critical topic, which is overcoming resistance and breaking old patterns. Because as you push towards goals, the old you, the habits, the comfort zone, it's going to fight like hell to pull you guys back in. And I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So today we're going to make sure it doesn't. The first thing we want to cover is recognizing resistance and how it's really the enemy of change. Let's first start by defining resistance. There's a really good book called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield that speaks about resistance. And resistance is an invisible force that shows up the moment you try to change. It's the voice that says, skip the gym today, or it's just a cheat meal, or it's just a drink, or you've earned a day off. It's really sneaky. And it's almost like inertia. It tries to keep you right where you're at. And it can take many forms, procrastination, self-doubt, excuses, drinking, physical fatigue, a lot of different things. But here's the truth. Resistance isn't really here to stop you guys from accomplishing what you want. It's actually a reminder. It's really here to test you. And every time you feel it, it's an opportunity to prove to yourself that you're stronger than your old habits. And resistance shows up when you're on the verge of breaking through to the next level. A lot of times I'll talk to clients about this, and I use the analogy of like a plane experiencing a lot of turbulence and like violent shaking before you kind of get up to that next like soft spot of the air and everything's smooth again. There's just a massive amount of friction and turbulence before we get to that next level. And most people feel that shaking resistance and immediately go back to that comfortable state and those old habits. But the more you push against it, the weaker resistance gets. It's really like training a muscle. And the more reps you put in, the stronger you become. The second thing I want to cover is understanding why resistance even shows up in the first place. And why does resistance hit so hard when we try to change? Well, it's because, like we just discussed, your brain is wired to keep you safe. It's designed to protect you from discomfort and stick to what's familiar, even if those familiar habits are holding you back from the person you want to become. The problem is, growth does not happen in a place where we are comfortable all the time. Neville Goddard, who I love quoting, teaches us that the past only has the power over us if we continue to carry it into the present. And what does that actually mean for you guys? Well, it means that every time you fall back into old habits, you're giving life to the past version of yourself because your old habits created your current present. And if we want to change where we're currently at and have a different future, well, we have to change what we've been doing. We have to change what we're doing in the present right now. So when you recognize resistance for what it is, it's just your brain's way of trying to keep you safe, you can break free from it. And your mind is very, very powerful, but you are the one in control of it, which takes me to my next point of breaking these old patterns. And to overcome resistance, you have to break old patterns and old beliefs about yourself. And the first step in breaking any pattern is becoming aware that you're running a pattern. And what are the habits that have kept you stuck in the past? Maybe you always, skip a workout on a Friday. Maybe when you are tired, you tend to not get off the couch, not get any steps in. Maybe you start stress eating when work gets a little bit overwhelming. Maybe you convince yourself that you don't have enough time and it makes it really easy to opt out of prior arrangements that you've had. The moment you become aware of these patterns, you take away their power. When you catch yourself about to skip a workout or make a poor decision or something that's not in alignment with the life you actually desire, if you stop and ask yourself, is this serving the man I'm seeking to become? If the answer is no, well, then you have a decision to make. Do I choose to fall back into this old way of being, providing the old outcomes that I did not want, or do I consciously choose a new action that might be a little bit unclear right now, but aligns with my goals? These small wins are going to build momentum. And one of the most effective ways to break resistance is to focus on action, consistent action that leads to small victories that you build upon. And you don't have to conquer the world in a single day, guys, but you do need to make consistent progress. And every time you take action, albeit even a small one, you guys are chipping away at resistance. You are reinforcing your new identity. When you don't feel like working out, tell yourself, I'll warm up for 10 minutes. Once you start moving, resistance fades. When you're tempted by unhealthy food, remind yourself, I'll just start with something healthy and I'll see if I'm hungry after. The key here is momentum. Small wins lead to bigger wins. And before you know it, you've created a snowball effect of positive action. And the snowball effect becomes very powerful. Next point. This really brings home the previous couple calls I've shot out to you guys. And if you haven't watched these, go back. We have all these published for you. It is imperative that you do go through these because this is the real work of having a transformation. It's not about the X's and O's of nutrition. That's common sense. You guys know that. Hey, I shouldn't eat like an asshole, but for some reason I do. Great. At some point, we made a decision about ourselves and what we perceive to be possible and we perceive our behaviors to be. So we need to unfuck all of that first. And that would be done by watching these videos and taking action. So remembering what we talked about in previous weeks, visualization, language. These two tools are really crucial for overcoming resistance. When you feel that familiar pull of old habits, I want you guys to use visualization to imagine yourself breaking through. And yeah, this sounds woo-woo and out there and all that shit. But again, the best athletes do this. The best executives do this. Visualization is real. So see yourself in that moment of decision and visualize the decision that serves your higher self. Visualize yourself making that choice. Feel the pride of how you feel in that moment when you make that decision. Then I want you to use your language. Do it both out loud and in your mind to combat the voice of resistance. If your inner critic is saying, oh, I'm too tired, counter it with, I'm stronger than my excuses. When you hear yourself say, I'll do it tomorrow, change that to, I take action today because my future self depends on it. You've already seen how powerful your words can be. Now is the time to use them as a weapon against resistance. And the last piece of this puzzle, guys, is accountability. And right now, you're accountable to yourself. You're accountable to me, to Chelsea, to the other men in this group. But most importantly, you are accountable to the man you are becoming. You have set a higher standard for yourself by committing to do this, and it's up to you to live up to that standard every single day. And I want you to think about finding a way to keep yourself accountable. And whether it's writing down your goals each morning, tracking your progress, or reaching out to someone when you feel resistance creeping in, it's having any of those processes in place. And I almost want to change the word accountability to ownership on this because accountability says like, hey, there's a connotation that someone's going to like make me do something. It's not really it. It's ownership. You're taking ownership of your decisions and your outcomes and realizing that you create every single outcome in your life. Everything that happens to you is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to deal with it. That is what ownership is. And it really strengthens your commitment. And it reminds you that this isn't just about a 12-week challenge, or it's about becoming the man who never lets resistance win. And that's what we're seeking to become. So again, be accountable to the man you envision or aspire to become. To wrap this all up, this week, I want you guys to shift your mindset when it comes to resistance. Don't see it as a barrier when things feel tough, like, oh, fuck, like maybe I should just, be easier to not do this. See it as a sign that this is good. This is a sign that you're growing, that you're pushing beyond your own limits. It should feel this way. I want you to recognize resistance when it shows up, break the old patterns that have held you back, and take action no matter how small it is. All these small wins, guys, I love hearing them, by the way. I love hearing the decision of, hey, like I wanted to stop by Chick-fil-A on the way home. I just drove right past it. That's a huge win, and you should celebrate the shit out of that. Use your visualization and language to fight back and hold yourself accountable to the man you're becoming. And this is your path, guys. Resistance is just a stepping stone on the way to your transformation. So push through it, and I will see you guys next week.